Hey everyone, it's Chris here, and today I'm going to take you through the current sleep system I'm using on all of my hikes. Alright, so when you're out on the trail and you're doing big distances each day, the best thing that you can do for yourself is to get a good night's sleep at the end of the day, so you're going to be re-energized and fresh for the following day's hiking. So having a comfortable sleeping system set up is really important to be able to ensure that you're giving yourself the best chance of getting a good night's sleep. So I'm going to take you guys through the current sleep system that I've been using for all of my hikes and how that's been working for me. So the first part of my sleeping system is my sleeping pad, and the one that I'm using now is the Exped SynMat UL7M. I've been using this sleeping pad now for about 2 years and it's been working really well for me. So this mat is 183 centimeters long, 52 centimeters wide and 7 centimeters thick. It's got an R value of 3.3, and if you're not familiar with R values, basically the higher the R value, the greater amount of insulation it's going to have in the mat and how warm that's going to keep you. I've slept on this in the middle of winter and still found that it's actually kept me pretty warm. I'm a warm sleeper anyway, so I didn't really need to get a pad that had a really high R value because I've found that I still stay warm enough even in colder weather in winter. The sleeping pad itself weighs 460 grams, so it's a pretty lightweight mat. And the way that it actually works is it has two valves on it, so it's got an inflate valve and a deflate valve. It's also been designed so that you don't actually need to blow this up with your mouth. It comes with this bag which they call a schnozzle pump bag, and basically what this has is a valve on the end of it, and all that you do then is you attach that to the inflate valve on the mat, and essentially you get air into the bag just by shaking it around and getting some air inside it. It's a roll top bag, so you just roll that down and this schnozzle pump bag actually pumps up the mat, and I think it's a great system. Some people find it a little bit clunky, but for me it works really well, and it just means that you're not actually getting any moisture inside your sleeping pad because you're basically just using air from this bag rather than actually using air from your lungs. So that works really well. The other good thing is that this doubles as a dry bag as well, so I haven't really used it to store anything in when I'm not using it to blow up my sleeping pad, but it is a waterproof, lightweight dry bag, so it can be used for that purpose as well. And it's always good to have pieces of gear that have dual purposes, right? I've had really good experience with my Exped sleeping pad so far. As I said, I've had it about 2 years and it hasn't given me any issues with leaks. It does come with a little repair kit just on the inside of the stuff sack as well, so that's there if I need to use it, but fortunately I haven't had to actually do any repairs on it as yet. Exped have a ton of different sleeping pads available in all sizes and a few different shapes as well. Some of them actually have tapered sides if you wanted to have a narrower end at the foot just to try and cut down a little bit of weight. So there's a lot of different options out there in the Exped range, and that includes ones that have higher R values for people who perhaps sleep colder and need a more insulated mat, which is obviously going to be a little bit heavier, but everyone's different in how warm they sleep, so they've got a huge range available, and it's just a case of going and checking those out and seeing what best suits. The next part of my sleep system is my pillow, and the one that I'm using now is the Exped AirPillow XL. So this one is the largest size of the various ones available in the Exped range. I just wanted to have something that was a little bit bigger and had a bit of extra headroom on it. This one weighs 90 grams and it's just got a single valve on it. So it's just an inflate deflate valve. And again, it uses the Schnozzle pump bag to inflate it, so same system as the sleeping pad. Some people prefer not to use a pillow when they're hiking, and they'll just use something like all of their clothes and just put that there. I just wanted to have something that was kind of a bit more comfortable than that. And this thing, it only weighs 90 grams. It's not a huge amount of weight to add into my setup. So I just really like having it, and it packs down really tiny in a little stuff sack as well. So it hardly takes up any room in my pack when I've got it all packed away. And yeah, it just helps me get that really nice night's sleep. I tend not to inflate this all the way. I just like to have a little bit of flex in it, I guess. I find if it's fully inflated, it's not quite as comfortable for me. Everyone's different about how they like to have that inflated, but that's just how it works well for me. So that's the pillow I use. Maybe considered a luxury item for some people, and it probably is, but I just find that it's really worthwhile taking to help get a good night's sleep on my hikes. And then the final part of my sleep system, obviously a very important part of it, is my sleeping bag. Now the sleeping bag that I'm using and have been for a long time is called the Summit Tundra 700. It's actually an Australian made bag that was designed and made at the time by a company called Alpine Concepts, which doesn't actually exist anymore. I've had this bag for a long time. I actually bought this when I was in my 20s, and I was doing quite a bit of hiking then. I had a bit of a break in between when I was in my 20s and doing quite a bit of hiking, and then stopped for quite a few years actually, and made sure that I just kept my gear well looked after. And once I started getting back into hiking again in the last few years, this bag has just held up so well, and it's just still a great sleeping bag to use. Now, because this is an older sleeping bag and it actually is not made anymore, I obviously can't make a recommendation about going out to buy it, but it just shows that buying good quality gear, if you look after it, it'll last you a very long time, and this one's still working really well for me even today. As I was saying before, I do a lot of winter hiking as well, and generally this keeps me really warm in winter. So even down to temperatures of around the freezing point, around 0 degrees Celsius, this is still keeping me warm without me needing to wear too many layers inside it. Once it starts to get down below 0, I do need to layer up a little bit in my sleeping bag, but it's just really such a good bag just to keep me warm at night. So just a few specs on this bag. It's a 700 gram fill of duck down, and the total weight of the bag is 1250 grams. So probably a little bit on the heavier side for some people, but I think it's worth that weight just for the warmth that it provides. And the materials that the sleeping bag is made from, the majority of it is Pertex ripstop nylon, which is all this purple part of it. And then at each end, it actually has what they call Pertex Endurance, and that is an extra waterproof section on here, so, or water resistant I should say. So basically the head and also the tail of the sleeping bag here, they actually have that endurance material on there, so it just provides a bit of waterproofing if you've got some condensation coming into your tent. And I've found that that's actually worked really well a few times, just when I've had nights where there's been a lot of condensation, and it's just helped to keep the foot box dry and keep the water out. The other thing about the bottom of this bag is it has an independent zip at the bottom of it, so you can actually open that up and just let some airflow in the bottom if you're getting too hot in there. So that's a nice little feature as well. To help keep me even warmer in colder weather, there's a couple of other features at the top here. So it's got a cinch at the top for my neck, so I can actually cinch that right up and stop air coming in around my neck. And also on the hood, it's got another cinch cord which allows me to cinch the hood in as well, and basically have it really cinched in so that only my face is sticking out. And that makes a big difference to any potential heat loss that I may have through my head. and just makes me feel a lot warmer at night when it's really cold. When I'm not using it and I've just got it stored at home, I just store it in a big plastic bag so that it's all nice and puffed out and doesn't lose its loft. You should never store a sleeping bag in a stuff sack. Over time it'll just lose its loft capability, and it means that you lose that insulating properties that the bag has. So that's it. That's the three main parts to my sleep system that I've been using for quite a while, and it's still working really well for me. I don't really see any need to make any changes to my sleep system at the moment. It's working well for me, but there's always the possibility that I'm going to be looking at some tweaks to my sleeping system for future hikes. If you guys have got any suggestions about parts of your sleep system that work really well, feel free to leave a comment down below. If you got anything out of this video, hit the like button, and if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel yet, hit the subscribe button, and to get notified of any new videos as they come out, hit the little bell symbol as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you out on the trail next time.